Next on Worcester News tonight, it's day 5 of Stop and Shop workers on strike. Some nearby markets say they've seen an increase in customers. Plus, Central Massachusetts fans head out to support runners in the Boston Marathon. We have reaction from the course. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. It was a stormy start to Marathon Monday. Thunderstorms passed through the area, bringing heavy rain and wind. A wind advisory is in effect until 8 a.m. Tuesday. Let's get a first look at our local forecast with meteorologist Tim Kelly.
What a wild weekend. We managed 2 70-degree days, and we also managed 2 inches of rain. Next rain still several days away, so there's some pretty good news. The heavy rain from last night went offshore, then we had a second batch come through, and now it's snowing in parts of New York and Vermont. So this rain's pretty much done. Now the wind is the story. There is a wind advisory. The temperature is falling through the 40s. Wind is gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour. There's snow in Vermont, staying in Vermont. Waking up to about 37 degrees. The wind chill factor is sub-freezing. Good amount of sunshine. The wind is still going to be gusting past 30 miles per hour tomorrow. It'll tend to let up. Lunchtime, we're at 45 to 50. It'll be warmer down the hill, obviously. When wind goes downhill, it warms up. But it's a pretty looking Tuesday and Wednesday, which is good news because we're going to dry out the ground before more late week rain. And Easter could go either way. 10-day forecast in a few minutes.
First responders in Charlton responding to a fire early this morning. A lightning strike on Hanson Road hit this home, sparking a fire in the attic. Firefighters were able to contain the fire to the attic. There was minimal water damage and the structure appears to be intact. Auburn and Leicester fire departments also responded. Thousands of workers across New England walked off their jobs at Stop and Shop last week. Today is day 5 of the strike, and some say they don't think it will end anytime soon. Meantime, other local markets are seeing an increase in customers because people are finding other places to shop. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now to explain. Brittany?
Olivia, right now 22 workers are on strike outside of the Stop and Shop here on West Boylston Street. They are telling shoppers to go elsewhere, and it seems to be working because down the street at a family-owned marketplace, they are seeing high numbers. Stop and Shop union workers enter their 5th day on strike. 38-year veteran Richard Libby says negotiations are not going well.
There's not an end in sight at all. They have no shoppers at all in the store. There's half of these cars right here all belong to people that are walking this picket line.
The ongoing strike at the supermarket is helping business down the street at S&S Marketplace.
I think we'll see as this strike goes on, and I know with the market basket strike years ago, we saw it go on for quite a while, and we really did see good numbers because of it.
Workers on the picket line say Stop and Shop isn't getting regular deliveries. S&S owner Josh Bailey says it's causing a surplus of product and it allows them to drop their prices.
We had a special for 99 cents a dozen on eggs, and it's Easter week. Well, it's because the cost was there this week, probably from the Stop and Shop strike, where they're a big draw. They're flooding the market with the product that they should be taking that they're not taking, so it impacts everybody down the line.
Bailey says while the strike is helping his business, it's hurting local farmers.
We benefit from it as a retailer, but the poor farmer that has to put all this money into the product and getting it to grow properly, they don't get the return on their investment, and it cripples little farms like that.
Libby has been on the picket line for 16 hours every day. He says without fair wages and good health insurance benefits, he and his fellow workers will remain on strike.
This is how we make our living. This is my livelihood. I've been here for 38 years, and you forced me in the street.
The Stop and Shop here on West Boylston Street is adjusting their hours due to the strike and will be closing at 8 p.m. Live in Worcester, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Objects are removed from Our Lady of Mount Carmel as construction crews get ready to demolish the former Worcester Church. Monday, crews were removing pews from the almost 100-year-old structure. According to the Diocese of Worcester, the church has been falling apart for decades because of how close it is to Interstate 290. It was closed in the spring of 2016. The diocese announced recently the Vatican had ruled against an appeal made by the Mount Carmel Preservation Society to keep the church. A buyer has not yet been announced for the church and its surrounding property. A rate study originally scheduled for 6 months from now will begin as soon as possible. The Cherry Valley and Rochdale Water District Commission gave the go-ahead after receiving complaints for the past several weeks. Ratepayers in the area have seen bills as high as $500, which they say may put many families in danger of foreclosure. The rate study will be a comprehensive report, including budget operating costs and the amount of water used in the district. Thousands of runners braved today's rainy start to the 123rd running of the Boston Marathon. Spectators from all over were along the route cheering on runners, some from central Massachusetts, others from as far away as Canada. Our Chandler Walsh spoke with people along the route in Ashland. She joins us now with more on the excitement from today's race. Chandler.
Olivia, some spectators say they were nervous during this morning's storm, but say the sky started clearing as the marathon began and conditions were ideal for cheering on the runners. A sea of runners raced through Ashland, getting off to a strong start at the 123rd Boston Marathon. Central Mass families like the Sullivans from Holden are here for the experience. Catherine Sullivan says supportive moments are what Marathon Monday is all about.
There's a little girl next to us with her hand out, and all the runners are coming to her and saying, "Thank you so much." And they just seem so happy, and they are having such a great time out here.
They're here to push the runners, but say instead the runners are pushing them.
Makes you want to do it, even though I know I'd be walking by now.
I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe next year is the year.
When Lila Goldberg was 9, she was near the finish line when the marathon bombings happened. She says it's inspiring to see the crowds of runners and spectators are just as strong each year.
It's great that everyone still does it and people still come to support and everyone's just here and having a good time.
This year, the Shrewsbury girl helped her mom cheer on a friend.
My best friend from Clark University, we graduated 30 years ago, is running today.
Traveling from further away, Faith Gosling and Brent Smith came from Ottawa, Canada to watch Gosling's husband run for the Dana-Farber Marathon Challenge.
We're just waiting for him to come along as part of Wave 4, cheer him on, make a lot of noise for the others along the way.
The energetic crew used witty signs, drums, and pom-poms for motivation.
He's got a little while left to go after this, so we got to keep the energy level pretty high.
Faith Gosling and other spectators say they're excited to be able to celebrate with their loved ones after all those 26.2 miles. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
All right, thank you, Chandler. As for the race, it came down to the wire for the men. Kenya's Lawrence Cherono out-sprinting Ethiopia's Lalisa Desia in the last few steps to cross the finish line first. This was Cherono's Boston debut, but he has won 6 marathons before this. And for the women, Ethiopian Worknesh Degefa taking the title today. Degefa finished in 2 hours, 23 minutes, 31 seconds, and is the 8th Ethiopian woman to win the race. Abby Niscoda has more on the emotional day for so many runners.
This is the moment they trained for, but once they finish, this is what they look for.
I'm so proud. You know, he set the goal and here he is.
A hug from mom, a reunion with the family that helped the runners push through all 26.2, even if for some that family is no longer here.
My dad was a marathon runner. He passed away from skin cancer, and I started running to honor him.
27 marathons later, today Deidre Keene runs not just for her father, but also for all of the victims and survivors of the Boston Marathon bombings.
I just remember what happened and running for them, and then I just kept thinking of how much I love Boston and crossing that finish line.
Also crossing the finish line, thinking about what happened 6 years ago, NASCAR driver Jimmy Johnson.
Close to Hendrick Motorsports, the team I raced for, was lost in the bombing. Sean Collier was a security guard at the MIT area.
Sure, this is what they trained for, but it's hard to prepare for the emotion that comes with watching someone like Marco Cicito finish, the double amputee running to prove that he still can.
We want people to know that your physical appearance doesn't define who you are. You have everything you need inside you.
And Adam, who you just heard from there, tells me he's not stopping at the Boston Marathon. He'll be on a flight to France tomorrow, where he tells me he's set to run a 50-miler at the Boston Marathon finish line. I'm Abby Nesgoda, Worcester News Tonight.
And for those of you who don't want to run, Wormtown Brewery is hosting its first ever 0K road race. Registration started at noon and goes until 7 p.m. tonight. The brewery says runners will receive number bibs before the race, and after completing the 0K, they'll receive medals. The race starts at the front door and ends at the bar.
As brewery people, we don't necessarily want to run a marathon, so we're like, what's the shortest distance we can run? 0. And so we sort of created an event around it.
And the registration is also free to the first 1 million runners.